What does God think about witchcraft? Witchcraft is any communication that takes place between humans and demons. Similar acts, like sorcery and wizardry, are treated the same way. They are banned. As it was said in Leviticus, "Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, nor observe times." Leviticus chapter 19, verse 26. However, why has God put a ban on the practice? How does he feel about witchcraft? During creation, Jehovah made sure that there was a place for everything and everything was in its place. Spirits lived in heaven with him while humans lived on earth. Humans procreated with humans and animals procreated with animals. However, Satan came down to earth in the form of a serpent in Genesis chapter 3 verses 1 to 6 and messed everything up. He convinced Eve to eat the forbidden fruit and caused the fall of man. Not only had he left his place, but he also screwed up somebody else's place as well. Things got worse from there. In Genesis chapter 6 verses 1 to 2, other angels went down to earth to marry certain women, and in verse 4, their wives would actually give birth. Their children, the ancestors of witches, were the first men and women to receive supernatural powers. Some would receive superintelligence. Others would be able to see into the future. Some could just talk to demons directly. These powers would allow the demons to influence humans without actually living on earth. Ezekiel described their powers here. "Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against your magic charms with which you ensnare people like birds, and I will tear them from your arms. I will set free the people that you ensnare like birds." Ezekiel chapter 13 verse 20 according to the New International Version. These supernatural people kept leaving their places and screwing things up. Before we even heard anything about witches in the Bible, Yahweh warned his children about their tendency to mess with people. "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God." Leviticus chapter 19 verse 31. These people also tended to mess with Israel's relationship with their father. For example, when Jehovah refused to talk to Saul in 1 Samuel chapter 28 verse 6, he expected Saul to accept his eventual defeat by the Philistines. His place was to listen to his father, who had made him king in the first place. However, Saul instead tried to find someone who would bring Samuel back from the dead, and that someone would be the witch of Endor. Maybe Samuel would find a way to surprise the Philistines and gain the upper hand. Maybe Samuel would find a way to bring peace. Whatever he wanted, it displeased God, because Saul was trying to find a way around his implicit ruling. What Saul didn't know, however, was that he was being deceived. The witch of Endor made Saul believe that he was actually talking to Samuel, but that couldn't have been possible, since people can't actually be brought back from the dead. It is written, "For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything. Neither have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten." Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 5. Clearly, the quote-unquote Samuel Saul heard from was just a demon who happened to be giving true information. Another problem with witches is that they always try to help people undermine God's authority. As it was said in Isaiah, "And when they shall say unto you, Seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep, and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead?" Isaiah chapter 8 verse 19. That's what the fortune teller girl, who was possessed by a demon, was doing in Acts chapter 16 verses 16 to 24. Instead of listening to the gospel that had recently come to town, people were looking to her and her evil spirits for advice. They wanted to gain knowledge from a source other than God, since he wasn't giving the answers they wanted. That's why Paul had to take the demon out of her. The problem is, God rightly believes that he is the only true source of knowledge, according to Proverbs chapter 2 verse 6. He set up a place for humanity to find knowledge, and in our time, that place is the Holy Bible. Hence, he treats witchcraft like piracy. Media companies don't like it when you download their movies from unofficial sites, so God also doesn't like it when you get information from any source other than the Bible. Also, fact-checking organizations don't like it when people spread information that doesn't come from official news organizations. Much of such news is fake, created to foment trouble and cause citizens to distrust their institutions. Similarly, God hates witchcraft because it spreads false messages that turn people away from him. In Exodus chapter 7 verse 22, Egypt's magicians turned the Nile to blood after Moses did so Pharaoh believed that Moses' deity was weaker than his own. Their actions prevented Pharaoh from repenting, so God had to send several more plagues before Pharaoh would let them go. The last plagues were stuff that the Egyptian magicians couldn't do. Also, the son of Hezekiah, Manasseh, got involved in almost every dark art imaginable. The chronicler described his wickedness here. And he caused his children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. Also he observed times, and used enchantments, and used witchcraft, and dealt with a familiar spirit, and with wizards. He wrought much evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. 2 Chronicles chapter 33 verse 6. His reign was so bad, he actually made the children of Israel sin worse than their neighbors, and only imprisonment in Assyria would make him see the error of his ways. Of course, most people don't raise the dead or create potions anymore, but a form of wizardry persists today. Anyone who incites rebellion against God is kind of like a witch or a wizard. As Samuel said, "For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry." 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 23. The reason for this definition is simple. When you foment rebellion against God, you are attempting to take him out of the position he has set for himself, leadership. You are showing that he isn't your boss. Plus, rebellion can take people away from their place, faith, because as the author of Ecclesiastes has told us, if your rebellion isn't quashed, they will be tempted to abandon him as well. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 11. Therefore, my advice is that if we see witchcraft as merely a practice of the Middle Ages, we should change our view. Science has replaced most forms of wizardry, so magic isn't as dangerous or harmful as it used to be. However, it hasn't vanished completely. In fact, it's now increasing in our time. As Jesus said, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. If we don't stand up to sinfulness and deceit, then we'll be susceptible to the influence of witchcraft, and will eventually find that we've fallen under its spell. And that is where I'm going to stop with this Bible Q&A. What does God think about witchcraft? He thinks it's a despicable practice that messes up his world, undermines his authority, and leads his people away from the truth. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe.